name is Amanda, and today I have a very exciting video to share with you guys because I will be doing an unhaul. And I've never done that before, but recently when I cleaned out my bookshelf, there were just some books that weren't really representative of me anymore, and books that I wasn't excited to read at all, or books that I didn't enjoy while I read them, or that I just didn't want to keep for some reason. So therefore I have decided to unhaul them, and two of them I've already given away to my sister, who sold them at her charity event at her school, and that was Winger, and it was my old copy of The Fault in Our Stars. But I do have a huge pile of books here. It is like 2 shelves that I just cleaned out that I didn't want anymore. I haven't exactly decided what to do with these books, but I will probably be giving them away to a used bookshop or to charity or something. So without further ado, here are some books that I'm not going to keep anymore. When I started BookTube, I fell into the BookTube trap, and I bought every single book that I thought sounded interesting or that I just heard anyone talk about. So I just bought a very large amount of books that I haven't been excited to read since, and this is one of them. It's called Transparent by Natalie Whipple, and it's about an invisible girl, and the plot sounded interesting to me at the time, but it just doesn't anymore. Then we have Beautiful Chaos and Beautiful Redemption by Kami Garcia and Margaret Stoll, and I loved the first book in the series, but then the second one, I loved the first book in the series, but then the second one just wasn't as good, and I've actually read these two and I just wasn't a very big fan, and I'm not gonna reread them ever again. So I also have Hallowed and Boundless by Cynthia Han. These two are about angels. I read the first book, bought the 2 sequels, and just never picked them up because I weren't interested anymore, and the covers are just really beautiful actually, but I'm not ever gonna read these, so I'm giving them away. I'm also giving away Mind Games by Kirsten White. I quite enjoyed it when I read it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, I think, but it just didn't make a huge impact on me, and it just takes up unnecessary shelf space. Next book is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I read this book and I didn't enjoy it at all. I actually put it on my top 5 worst books of 2014 list. I'm not continuing on with the series, and I'm seeing no point in keeping it. Then we have Mila 2.0 by Deborah Derza, and I bought this ages and ages and ages ago. I started reading like 20 pages, didn't interest me, never picked it up again, and I'm never going to read this one. Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder, and I quite enjoyed this book, kind of. Didn't make a huge impression on me again. I'm not continuing on with the series, and I'm not keeping it. Then we have Born at Midnight by C.C. Hunter. I had this huge paranormal thing going on where I wanted to buy every paranormal book that took place at a school, and that is exactly what this does. Doesn't really interest me anymore, and the series is just so long. Never read it, probably never will. Then we have False Memory by Dan Krokas, and I probably will never pick this one up. The plot doesn't interest me anymore, and I just see no point in keeping it on my shelves. Then we have Eon Dragon Eye Reborn by Alison Goodman, and started reading this book as well. Didn't interest me that much. I didn't particularly like the characters, and there are just so many other fantasy books that I would rather read instead of this one, so I'm not keeping it, and hopefully someone else will enjoy it more than I will if I pick it up. I have The 52nd by Dila, and I didn't read this one unfortunately. The subject matter just doesn't really interest me that much, and I'm not ever going to read it probably, so yeah. Shadow and Bone and Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. Read the first one, didn't enjoy it. Bought the second one before I read the first one, and I just don't feel excited to pick it up, and don't see any point in keeping these two on my shelf. Is this getting repetitive? I hope not, but we're almost done. I have Seraphina by Rachel Hartman. This is a book about dragons, and I didn't read it unfortunately. The plot just doesn't interest me anymore, and as you've noticed, most of these are YA, and I feel like I've just taken a step away from the normal YA, and I'm sure there are gems that I really want to pick up, but after a while all the plots just sound the same, and I just don't feel like picking them up. And this is fantasy, and it's about dragons, and I just don't feel like picking it up. Next book is Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor, which I read and didn't enjoy very much. I won't be continuing on with the series. The characters just didn't interest me that much. Plot wasn't too well developed in my opinion. Reboot by Amy Tintera, which was interesting but not very well executed, and therefore I don't feel excited to picking up the next book. This is about reboots, people who die and come back without emotions, and we follow this one reboot who slowly starts to regain her humanity, and it was very fast paced, but that was it pretty much. We have Half Bad by Sally Green, which I didn't enjoy at all. I pretty much hated it, unfortunately, and it was the #1 book on my worst books of 2014 list. I didn't enjoy it at all, couldn't connect to any of the characters, and won't continuing on with the series, and I just don't want to keep it on my shelf. So the last 3 books is an entire trilogy, and it is Hex Hall, it is Demon Glass, and it is Spellbound, all by Rachel Hawkins, and I have read the first one, I enjoyed it, and also this was during my paranormal at a school thing I had going on. I just don't feel like I want to read them anymore, unfortunately. So that are all the books that I will be unhauling, and they just took up unnecessary space on my shelves. Is there any of these books that you think that I should keep and maybe give a second chance? Then please tell me in the comment section below. Have you read any of these books? What were your opinions of them? I would love to know. Have a great weekend, you guys, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.